evening, Stephen Barunji. You're doing well today. So say Stephen, man. Sakulide, Stephen, sakulide. Sakulide. Living in Council. Living in Rogers. Living in Kenneth. Living in Sammy. Dabiseko, Charles. Muli mutya leero. Tank lasting doesn't depend on time. Depends on the distance you drive. My full tank can take 2 weeks, a week, depending. Normally, the distances I drive are different, depending on the week, what I have to do. There are times I drive and the full tank takes me only 3 days. Yes, Abby, good evening. Alex will always beat the IST in my opinion, because Alex gives you more space. So for me, the Alex will always beat the IST. After I like time bridge to buy a car, I mean a Daniel. Yes, Rogers knows I put them. Alex gives you more space, yet the fuel consumption is the same. Kazo. Let's dip in coffee. How are you today? Today it's Saturday. I'm going to tell you the story. The story of the 2 inspections one which was unsuccessful and one which was successful. And of course, I'm going to tell you the reason why. The Fielder always beats the Subaru. The Fielder always beats the Subaru. But you need to understand that the hybrid will not always be hybrid, especially the ones we buy in Uganda. Yes, Nelson, how are you? Man, but then what again? The road is wide open. Kumbi ndilimu zeka. Enga muli mutia. So I'm going to tell you that story. Takala muwele konera ikiziwele. Muli 16 like zili mukaga. You match the likes with the number of people that are watching the broadcast. I personally wouldn't want to test it, but in my car, when the fuel light comes on, I can normally go for 100 more kilometers. Yes, 100 kilometers. From the time it comes on the first time, Michael. But of course that will depend on your driving habits. That's not like, it's not like written in stone like you can go 100 kilometers. But with my driving, and if the car is I can go 100 and more, like 120 kilometers. And then I refuel. And that's say the kilometers I'm saying it will not like stall at all. I drive 100 kilometers, put more fuel. Purchase inspection at Deco 500 kubanga waka gogamba wano abantu tebamusasulira ngenda kuongeza next year Stephen 600 600 ate tebagana kulaikinga broadcast, they don't want. Amina Kenneth, thank you for loving me and thank you for being here. I'm going to tell you the story, Dawood. Arthur, can a car of 1.5 liter take you to and from Chireka to town? But Chireka is very near. Chireka is like 5 kilometers over 7 from town. Chireka is very near. That one we will not even be using. You'll be using maximum 10,000. The maximum, even with jam. You see this kind of driving that I'm doing now? This is the kind of driving that saves fuel. Bakuitako no barabanga bagenda envuga saving amafuta. Like the podcast. Share the podcast so that more people come bawe story. I used to not drive like this when I was young. It's my first car, the Chibina. Oh, you would think I'm Ruakataka. I've got first car, saying to Likawanda. The way I used to drive. One thing I learned yesterday when we went to buy the Subaru, foresters are for Babede also. Era bw'olaba omuntu ng'avuga Subaru every day manya ayinamu ku busente sente. Zinyuma mu background tezireete copyright claim ku channel yaffe nedda reggae banzikiriza omukozesa era I put naye era abantu beesiriwaza, so I'm talking to a producer tukunkolerayo sound track ezaffe eza live nga zaffe ffekka. Yes, Clip Films, how is the weekend going? Moroke jange eringa Corolla. Corolla Moroka J. The network is doing me so mwe bagayi ngenda kati banyumiza story kati ntandisi kye bayita tusimbudde story yaffe kaninde network stabilizing embateereko olugero. Which one is the best? All filters are good. I would definitely not encourage you to buy a hybrid because it won't be a hybrid forever. But if you can afford the hybrid, as long as you know that very soon you may need to buy battery pack, then you won't have a problem. Yeah. Kati kambatereko olugero kangende mu S kubanga zino Samsung n'okunnyogoga simanyi n'okubuguma ejja kukyamukira wano katugende mu S ate S tumwina. Why don't we go to S? Good evening, Andrew, Rupert. Network, have you? It's good now. You're 21. The likes are 19. At least someone's not. Normally, when people call me, and the practice for me is that I don't confirm a day before you book me. And I used to tell you to book me with 100K, but I found that some people that don't know me find it hard to book with 100. So I tell you to book with 50K to book a day. So a gentleman calls me from when I don't know the last time he watched the broadcast, because yabadde akyali ku inspection fee eri enkadde nga amanyi inspection fee is 350K. Of course he did not deposit any money on my phone. I think he probably trust issues. So Thursday morning he tells me no, he tells me I think Wednesday I'll be in Kampala. I say okay. So Thursday around 10 he calls, around the 8 he says I've reached Kampala now, can we go? Because I thought by 8 he would be with me, if but he says I'll be there like midday. So we started looking at midday. And what's funny is, and I want you guys to note this, normally when kugamba nti emmoroka eno egenda mwezi no sente, because initially this gentleman didn't even tell me the car he wanted. Yangamba bugambi tujja kujja tunonya. And normally when someone doesn't tell me the car he wants, and I assume he's not yet ready. So because he didn't tell me the car he wanted, I waited for him to come. I thought sujja bwana abaze. So on Thursday we meet at around 12:30. When we meet at 12:30, he tells me he has 12 million. He wants a Toyota Alex. Now you guys, I've been telling you, 12 million, you can't get an Alex. So he says I can stretch up to 13. I can stretch up to 13. And my mechanic has an Alex that he bought with one of his friends. So, but I did not want to show him that one. It's in a way, when I show you a car that belongs to someone I know, for me it feels funny. So I did not show him that Alex until we went to the market. So when we went to the market, because he wanted either a Fielder or the Alex, so which was clear that he wanted a VVTi car. And I can tell you that right now, even at 13 million, the only VVTi car that you can get in very good health would be probably the Vitz. And I've been telling you this for a very long time. So we go to the market. He had brokers that he knew from Gigi, and I've been telling you this. So I tell him, you know what? I know personally, if you sit in my car and you want to do pre-purchase inspection, just because mechanic aba today wanunga ayagala send nange mbanywa mafuta. So I tell him point blank, I don't know anywhere where there is an Alex, with a Toyota Alex or a Fielder at the amount of money that we have. But you call ye mwenyine achimanyi. So the first batch of brokers that he called were in Machini. Him, because I did not know a place that has a Fielder or Alex at 12 or 13 million and it's in good condition. Okay? Because even the Alex that my mechanic has, he said he's selling it at 16 before. So we call the brokers in Machinde, and I discourage them from going to Machinde because I've been to Machinde. There is no good car that is that affordable. 12, 13 Alex, no way. And I've been telling you guys, the moment the car enters Chibanda, customer can get Chibanda wait, it becomes expensive. As the network is disturbing, but we have to manage it. So we go to Bakuli, because he had a broker that told him there was a Fielder. I think he told him there was a Fielder that was over UAW. Okay, and he had told him I think 13 million. So we go to Bakuli, and apparently in Bakuli there was no Fielder at 13. And remember, normally I tell you, if you don't want performance, you buy a Fielder 1.5 liter. The only Fielder that was in Bakuli was a 1. Now, when we got to Bakuli, and the only Fielder that was there was was being sold at 15. For me, I had already like let it go. I think we went to another place around Boise, and the Fielders we saw there were actually very bad. they were very bad. So after we saw the fielders that were available, I just brought it as an option, and I told him, you know what, let's look at this guy's Alex, the mechanic's Alex. So we went to this Alex, and I think it had some power challenges, but he had already bought plugs from Toyota Uganda. You remember, the people that have bought cars with me have had that mechanic say plugs at Toyota ulimba abantu sinungi nnyo biki. But I think when his car got that pipira, he decided that, okay, I'll go and buy plugs. Other plugs at Toyota Uganda for the 1NZ engine are very affordable. For me, I've just bought new plugs from Toyota Uganda today because I want to put new plugs in my engine now. Let me show you. I've just bought plugs from Toyota. These 4 plugs cost me 54,500 shillings. 54,500 shillings. That's how much I bought the plugs, 4 of them from Toyota Uganda. Now, when I tell you that Toyota Uganda plugs are very affordable, that doesn't apply to plugs. The plugs that go to in the Sienta that has the 1NZ engine, the newer model, they will cost you about 380,000. Okay, now there are some other plugs that will cost you, I think I bought plugs from Actu Musota, I bought them 110, and I think that's because they are not 4, they are 6 plugs. Okay, and then the plugs change. They ask you for the chassis number of the car, and then they give you the plugs that will work for your car. Yeah, so I hope I'm clear. So we went and checked out the Alex, and it had that issue, and I let them negotiate. The mechanic went 14, Smanya 14.5, because personally I knew the Alex we can get in that price 14 would be that, but they haggled and haggled, they ended at 13.5. But I told this guy, you know what, before you buy this Alex, ono guy kasoka akole ekintu ekipipira, and he did that very day. The mechanic worked. However, these VVTi engines, any lack of, if this VVTi engine bwebulako akaseke kempewo, for the guys that know Uganda, any lack of wind, lack of not normally wind, will bring black smoke. So yesterday we were busy because we saw the mechanics Alex at around 5, and I told this guy, you know what, you can go home tomorrow morning, come drive this Alex. If you like it, you pay for it. If you don't like it, we see other options. So that evening I went and drove the Alex. It was okay, but and for me, I thought it was a good buy. So the next morning, because the gentleman that bought a Subaru came very early in the morning, and he phoned me at my office. So we proceeded to go look, because he came, the gentleman that bought the Subaru particularly wanted either a Subaru or a Primo new model. And yeah, so Katsumara story yoli guy. So when the gentleman for the Subaru came, we went to look for Subarus, because I had told the other guy the day before that, you know what, tomorrow I'll have another person who wants to inspect. But in case you come and you don't like that Alex, you can come sit with me, and if we have options, we look at them as we also look at this gentleman's Subarus. And that was the agreement. So as we were looking at the Subarus, because we bought one of them, and this gentleman calls me. Actually, we because we were in the mechanic checking cars for this the Subaru gentleman, so we left the car with someone, and we told them let them come and check. If they like the car, we can come later and he pays. So what happened? Payogwa 55 car, yeah. So what happened is while we were there, the old man we left the Alex with called me, and he says, you know what, ono guy azeba makanika abalala, bamaze okukebera emmoloka naye baŋŋambye baagala emitwalo 5. nze saagala muntu asiriwaza mulala naye sirina change naye mmanyi gwe omulina. So the old man calls me and he says guy owners ne bamakanika abalala bakebedde emmoloka naye bagambye baagala emitwalo 5. bwe batafuna mitwalo 5 emmoloka bagenda mualema egigula. So when the old man told me, because remember before we left the previous day, these guys had already agreed that I'm going to pay 13.5, you work on those things that are missing, and that was the agreement. The car did not have brokers or anything. So the fact that he comes with mechanics and they're asking for 500,000, I called him immediately and I told him, you know what, the mechanics that you have brought have asked the old man for 500,000. And then he told me, Nedda olimba ono uncle wange tasobola bikola ebyo yayogedde ddi nabo. Thank you. And me normally I tell you guys, mechanics and brokers are very sharp people. They are very sharp. Gwe wotasuubira nti ayogerera n'omuntu aba ayogera naye. That's why normally I tell you, me, even if you have given me your money, I can never let you go with my mechanic alone, because ajja gende eri ayagala okuli olw'okuba athataliiwo bakubbe okitegeera. So what happened is that the mechanics wanted money, or they tell the guy, don't buy this Alex, it has problems. So what I did not understand, I think when they were putting the plugs, they touched one of the busekes there, and the car was lacking air and it had black smoke. For the guys that know engines, I think I need to do like a small video where I describe what smoke, the color of smoke means. So what they akakaka black akamafuta. So these men went to the old man we left the car with. Ne bamugamba ffe tumanye ekiri ku motoka eyo yeetaaga kaseke tukalabika ayimenyese. I think they broke it. Naye bw'otatuwa ssente ffe tugenda mugamba emmotoka mbi. Okitegeera. So when I call this my client and I tell him naga tokisoboka uncle wange tasobola, and I told him, you know what, baba bagamba emmotoka mbi gireke, let's look at other cars. Do you have other options that we can look at? And he goes with the mechanics. So that's how we did not manage to buy a car for that gentleman, and I feel bad, but I think later on he got a car because he called me to help him with verification, which I did. I gave him a way to do the verification. So I don't know whether he got a car. I'm waiting for him to tell me. I will not budge, because nyinza okutegeera nti bamubbi ate ne mugamba nanyigira kojjaawe. So, but I'm imagining that he later on got a car. But then, that's how unsuccessful that venture went. Yeah. So to trust about the Funa Moroka, first of all, with that unsuccessful purchase, I want to point out, I think, 2 things. One is that your budget is very important. When I come here, and I think this gentleman had last watched my live broadcast over when, because he had that inspection here, which is not the case anymore. So your budget is very important. In car purchase, we don't do magic. You don't come with money that can buy a Spacio and you somehow expect to get a new one. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. And that's the first instance that was a limitation with this gentleman's car. He did not want any other car. He wanted either the Alex or the Fielder. So I don't know later on the car he got whether it was an Alex or Fielder, but emoroka giyabadde ayagala nga tasobola kugifuna. Of course we saw some Fielders, but they were not nice. Umanyi, there are cars you look at ngononya ne wotandiko gigamba omuntu mala gitwala nga toyina wotandikira. The Fielders we saw twazisanze, there is a kabond in Bwayise where we saw those Fielders. There's no way I can tell someone to buy a bad car. So anyway, that's how unsuccessful. The first limitation was the budget. The second limitation was that when you get mechanics that are brokers in disguise, and it has happened to me before. When I was selling my first place in Kasanga, when I was moving to Matuka, that's what happened to the broker. Broker wanted money, and Ngayaga sent Zagara Suka 10%, which is supposed to be the commission. Which take even the 10% he got was a lot. Which take the Nemugamba, you know what? Don't sell this place. We will no kakana no kakasanti 10%. You come back to Turundi. Of course, later on he came back. Which take but you know, he was intentionally stopping the people from buying because he wanted more money, which was not fair. And so this is what happened with the mechanics, and I've seen it happen so many times. That's why I tell you guys, your mechanic is also a broker. Mechanic abera yetagako supervision. My mechanic is not that bad, but I know that he's human. Ochitegera. Times again ngataina wa mulaba ne bagala bamuzizike emitwala 5 na tagafuna kubba. Ochitegera. But anyway, so that was the unsuccessful transaction. But later on, we went ahead and started looking for Subaru. So this gentleman that bought a Subaru had texted me like I think a week or 2 ago, and he said that broadcast nga bwengenda kuduka wano. Anyway, so this gentleman contacted me like 2 weeks or a week ago, and he said he wanted to buy either a Primo or a Subaru Forester. Now, I totally, normally I would first question, why are you comparing the Subaru and the Forester? Why are you saying Forester and Primo in the same thing, in the same sentence? But it was clear he wanted a car that has some ground clearance in the beginning. He drives 10 kilometers a day, and the fuel will not be a problem looking at the distance. So I told him, the moment he sat in my car, I asked him, why are you looking at the Subaru? The Subaru consumes a lot of fuel. The mechanic told him the same thing, but the mechanic likes Subarus. So he told him I would, I think it's your phone, Wayne. Antonio, good evening. Nange nakyebuuziza Salmin. Actually, after the uncle said whatever they said, I told this guy, afterwards, uncle mechanical. So I'm thinking, if I have an uncle that is a mechanic and I trust him, and I've been cheated by relatives before, so me, I know that this thing can happen. So anyway, tugende kuwa Subaru. So this gentleman, me, I was very discouraging of the Subaru Forester. Why? Because in Chimanyi nti enywa nnyo. Emoroka eyo Chimanyi nti enywa. Okitegeera. So I discouraged him from the word go. Naye nga makanika atajaagala. Gye bayiseko. Kale se. Ndikulayo. Naye kantira mbali wano edduuka tulabe. So personally, I don't like cars that consume a lot of fuel. So I was telling him, the thing that happened is when we went to see the Subaru Forester, omusajja gwe twagenze namukadde mulengera namukadde bwanyirira ku lusozi wali. So the person we went to see the Subaru Forester for is a Subaru diehard. Yabadde ne Subaru satu mu lujja lwe. He's not a dealer. He's one of those rich kids, I think, because tumugulako enyemmotoka way below the market price. So we went and he had a Subaru. I didn't take pictures of that Subaru. It was a UBK. And the Forester, it was non-turbo. It was okay. Because I think it goes up country a lot. And but in the same compound, we had the Forester and the UAY, which was way cheaper. Nga waliwo ne Impreza, which was a UBL. which definitely me I would choose a UBL Impreza. Impreza kabadde kawomu era nga mwakalabye. And the moment I looked at the Impreza as my person was checking the Forester with the mechanic, I was personally looking at the Impreza. Era ne muganda lwaki tugulamu Impreza. And the mechanic was saying nedda tugule SUV bichi no performance car kali kanafu bichi. But anyway, regardless, tuvuga mu Forester nesikira mu mfo. We come from the guys parking, tukirira wansi. Sinagamba tulinya lusozi. Tukirira olusozi tuva mu compound ya guy tukirira olusozi. Forester nesika. You can imagine a moroke skango kirira lusozi. So, this is Subaru buy yaleta nampa sente zange. Mugamba manye ngejota nampa sente zange tunonye ATM. Tunonye ATM ompe sente zange uye ne Subaru genda gisaamu amafuta. Kuba Subaru njigula ku sente zange. Amina mafuta ngagula ku sente zange. Tugenda ku petrol station ngula nakomona ngamba sente laziganye. Anyway, onkolako kamba muting emu katono nnyo. Network anoonye mwabadde mu mutwalo gw'amafuta tekyewuunyisa. Sorry about the network. The Subaru gye twali tugula agivuga literally obompa meka gumusatu zonna. Forester yabaddemu kanteke wano kakundi twogeremu. Yantwogeremu. Network ekomyewo. Namukadde giveeko tojja gisobola. Kale se ezange era aguze omutwalo naguguzeemu amafuta. Nimwe bantu mmwe kimanyi nti omukazi yantumye enkoko. Kati wano webalira challenge emoroka ya manyo. Balansinga ku lusozi nenda yige emoroka. Gibalansinga nga bwogivugira mu side mirror baje nyingira main road. Ni abantu bayige ngombe kati akuba kye ngombe. Mugumikirize balabe ende namukadde ayitewo. Enyingira Forester yawaddemu kawujjo network alinya waggulu. Nedda wano wembadde kirabika edduuka liri mu kikko nnyo. Mwe bantu bange atugende mu maaso n'emboozi ate leero ngenda bavuga mba twalina wala kubanga so anyway tuvuga mu Forester abo yasise ne mugamba olaba Mukama Katonda akulaga sigino Forester gyesonyiwe. Nga makanika ye bwagamba ene motoka bannange muga performance that Forester was steady, very intact. So we drove it and then we took it back. When we got there and we decided to drive the Impreza. Mwe kalika Impreza kalimu ebirungo tekalinga bu Impreza bwe mbadde nda because some of the Imprezas have been seen. Era ensonga lwaki mbadde ngamba The Impreza nafu. But this Impreza one was not like the ordinary Imprezas I've been looking at. Yabadde inamu kumanyi. And yabadde mpya nga tolina ky'ogigamba. Okitegeera. Because twagivugidemu SC naye ng'era you can feel that the engine is still strong. That SC doesn't back. And I did not tell you our budget. Our budget initially was 18 million. Okay. But my buyer said, in case we get a good customer, as we were going to the bank, I called some people that I know that have Imprezas, and they were all telling me, because the Impreza, I think in the bond is between 29 to 35, depending on where you buy. I tell you, UBL is like a number away from the current number plate. But me, I knew that this guy could actually go lower. So we go back, and normally when I look at a good car, when I looked at this car, I knew there was no way we were going to get another car that is as good as this in that price range. So I told my buyer, but I'm sure we will not see another good car. Because normally, from my experience, when you see a good car, you know that this is a good car. So we went and negotiated with the guy, and he stopped at 23 million. I said, let's first go. And then along the way, my person, don't you think he wants to take some money? And I told him, because this is why I'm there. My mechanic has learned to start seeing long term. My mechanic tachabikola. So because for me, I keep in touch with the market, so I would know the value of the car. So anyway, we go in the Tukubira Bakuli, because Bakuli is better than Machi India. And so we go to Bakuli and look at the cars that were there. The one, because they did not have any Impreza there. Even in Nakawa, nobody had an Impreza in our budget. So when we went to Bakuli, corner. So we went to Bakuli, and we saw Primos. We also saw a RAV4 because he picked interest in RAV4s, 21 millions. So we got to see the RAV4 that is in that budget, and the RAV4 was a new model. Okay, was a new model, but it was a UAW. Now you can imagine buying. It doesn't matter what car you're buying. You can So the way the network is going off, I'm going to park around here and finish the broadcast and then proceed. And then I'll proceed. Because Jendaga Yonayona network can be passing away. So if it has started doing very well here, I'll finish the broadcast and then proceed. That's the problem with the manual U. Be as you are riding a bicycle. Small hooting omutima gutiemuka. I'm fine, you know. So butuva ku Impreza netugende wa Bakuli netulaba a number of cars twalabye, mostly because he wanted Subaru or Primo, but then he developed interest for RAV4, Hi Moses. So we went and saw the RAV4. The RAV4 wasn't good, and then we saw this Primo that was really nice. It was at it had a 1.5 liter engine, the one NZ that is in this car, and what happened is that it was a UBF, and the guy stopped at 23 million. It was a really nice car. It was the same price range. Only guy was Subaru, Ariku 23 million. This one is also at 23 million. And this Primo was also almost perfect. So now this is where we have these uncomfortable or comfortable conversations. So I asked this guy, when we look at these cars, normally when I look at my clients, I analyze a little. Because what I try to talk to, there is a car we are talking about. When I look at you, so don't buy it. So I asked this guy, are you married? No. And when you look at the Primo new model and the Impreza, a man that is not married, definitely the Impreza. If you're not married and you have a choice to either buy a Subaru Impreza or a Primo new model, definitely buy the Impreza. The other factor that we looked at was the Impreza was newer than the Primo. The other thing that happened with the Impreza is that the owner of the Impreza was willing to sell the car to us at a credit. And he even pledged that anything that breaks down in that car for the 2 months that we are taking the car before bringing the balance, it should be charged on him. It means if we take the car and in those 2 months a shock is bad, we cut his money. Zasigazayo. If we take that car, gearbox never mukekola, because that Impreza, I think it has over CVT. If we take the car, the engine has something, we cut his money. That was his agreement. But me, I normally don't like to buy cars on credit. So when we looked at the Primo, we had this discussion, and this gentleman also had liked the Subaru Impreza. Kugamba omutima gwe gwabadde gulingo gwange nga fena to see me Impreza. So we went ahead and left the Primo, going back to the Impreza. We did not actually go back to that place. We just told the person, the guy that was selling us the Impreza, aja tusange ku bank. So that's what we did. And this guy had 2 cars. He has an Emoroka Z Forester ye na Impreza ye. Impreza ya fenaji jamu ebintu byene. Tumuwa sente signinga, but it so happened that Emoroka na ye abadi tanaji transferringa. So we remained with some money. We did not give him 22. We bargained up to 22. That's one thing I did not tell you. We bargained from 23 ngazi 22.5 tunganeka demoro vitani tukwe milioni 22 za cash tugende nakirize milioni 22. And because yabadenge motoka tasola tuwerawo transfer forms, we kept some money. We kept 500,000. We'll give him the money after he has given us the transfer forms. So that's what happened. We gave him 21.5, and my buyer drove away the new Subaru. My buyer drove away the new Subaru. Tekwaba de kocha kola. Imipida kujiri, he'll drive for a few months. Okitegeera simanyi lwaki omuntu okubira omuntu emirundi ebiri nakufuula business odamu n'okuboga okusatu. Sometimes it doesn't really make sense. Omudidi gwa sente milioni 22 abantu bazina matha. People have money. But anyway, that was the story of the Impreza. We bought the Impreza, and but you guys, thank you for giving me business. I'll make sure that I don't disappoint you. Never nayongeza akasente, I will still not disappoint you. Never nayongeza nenyongeza sijaba disappointing. To remind you guys, abali mukamoli, I do pre-purchase inspection. If you're buying a car, you don't want to make a loss, I come with a mechanic, and I monitor the situation. Zembera unga guardian angel to make sure that you make a decision, not only that you like, but also that is good for you. Because sometimes when we have our car money and we want to buy a car, tubate tugambika ko. Twagala batuzingako chovula bantu mvuko yawuliriza anko we. Okitegeera nga dieta manyi nti anko mugezi wa city. Okitegeera ekyo netukireka netukiba. I remember that there are guys that came, the double cabin we sold a Mosei. One of my followers sent his Mosei for me to help him do pre-purchase inspection. And I remember that double cabin Mosei got mechanics from I think Oba it was Hoima from Fort Portal. They work at a Toyota dealer in Fort Portal. They came nga besiga. The dealers put aside the guy that was selling double cabin, and they told him we want $1 million shillings. That's what they told him. Fetuise motoka. So ba makanika babanga ba broker. Makanika ino kubako omuntu amu monitoring anga sigwe. Ontegeera ino kubako omuntu amwetegeera. You have to have someone that has your interest at heart. One thing that I've realized about about family, and God help us, I hope this is not really what I think. Buli bw'olinnye eddaala omuntu ly'atannatuukako akawulira obubika abamu naddala nga family member nga atakusinga obukulu. Me have seen it. Nze naye saagala ki-interpretinga bwentyo, naye ono kazini wange entera obeera n'emmoloka yaŋŋamba naye Arthur gw'olowooza mbunno sijja bimalayo okitegeera. But anyway, eyo tuveeyo. I really hope that the uncle got him a very nice car nga teyamukubye, because babroka betwagenzeke wabbakulu babadde tebalina Fielder na Alex nebaga naye lwaki togula Mark X eno okitegeera nga tebagala muzza mu mmoloka zinywa nti naye tewali nnyo difference ne Fielder yo 18 nayo simbi nnyo nze ate nno tonguza 15 nga waliwo eyo 18 bwe batyo babeera. After a good Fielder we can get it at how much? I would actually nga toweeronze namba beera ne $2.25 nga teweeronze nnyo namba you can get a good Fielder. Oba weeronze namba beera ne $1 naye lwaki Fielder, if you have money why don't you go to the bond and buy a Fielder at like 36, 37? Naye $3.7 nga nyingi ozikwata ozisse mu mmotoka omulundi gumu ng'okyali muvubuka nga toli mu bedde. Bw'oba oli mu bedde ziteeke, bw'oba toli mu bedde $2.25 ogula Fielder. But you know, whenever you want to buy a car and your plan is to buy a car that looks to be a little overpriced, I think you should now look at the uses of the car. When you look at the uses of the car and what you want in a car, then you can look at alternatives. Normally, that's what I do. Salmin, one day I had a question about pre-purchase inspection fee. Balumna 600 ken. Balumna ngenda balisting ngenda bagamba balumna bange besigenda charging 600 ngenda bogera kencha. Mwenja sigaramba charging ana mu 5. Era mwongezaamu ekyetaano naye era osigala savings 15 ngenda bogera balumna bange mwenna musijja bongeza. But anyway bagayi kamba sibule kuba budde buzibye ate gyendaga network eri mu kufaayi. That's why I'm packed here. Gyendaga era mbadde ngenza okulaba nga efiiridde ddala eganye n'enkomawo weekwatidde wempakinze. Naye ngenda gula essimu eya 5G, but this phone has 5G. Did I activate the option? Kubanga kati 5G ebesikamu nnyo inesigazi 4G zonna nezimalayo mu ggwangwa. Anyway guys, thank you very much for being part of it. Tomorrow, the broadcast tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about why your new cars lose value very fast. I'm going to be telling you reasons why your cars lose value very fast. Tomorrow's broadcast will still start at 5:15 p.m. Today I've come a little late, but then nkwataganye mbadde kunase nkwataganye mirimu gy'abakama bange nebinkwatamu. But tomorrow I'll be talking about why your new cars lose value very fast. It's important that you understand that sometimes the value lost is not because the car itself has no value. It's about other factors as well. And I'm going to be talking about that tomorrow in the evening. Yes, abagala okumanya nga tonna bagenda kugula moroka mpya otegeere why it might lose value and why it will lose value, not might. Because ebintu ebyengenda okwogerako, if you don't know, it will definitely lose value. Stephen Barungi, Charles Sebaduka, how is Mitiana, Sami, Jovan Mugume, Kenneth Gumisi Riza, Kanso Asiku Patrick, Bananga Babeda mu East Mbale, Tororo, we have a lawyer there, what for the love of cars. Chemanya inzo kuba Unica family and friends discount. Rogers Sempija, Jude Kasivante, Abe Bukenya, Dinol, Wayne K, Deep in Coffee, Nelson Chove, Muganga, Michael, Charisima Rogers. Wambuza was the current price range of Primo new model. Bara $2 million kwambuka waggulu nga $2 kasitoba nga teweeronda. But if you have like 25, 23, you can get a UB series. So okay, Osip Ankunda, Niwamanya Kenneth, Dawood Mununule, yes, Pasco Joseph. At the Primo X consumes how much? Cover 72 kilometers. The Primo X is actually very good. Depends also on your driving habits. Just know the Primo X, at least I will take you for 12 to 15, depending on how you drive. 12 to 15 kilometers. Tetujja kuba na copyright claim. Temweda likirira. Andrew Okuni, yes, Bashir Mukalazi, Chikonyogo area Joshua, Kenneth Okilan, Antonio, yes, Mogalasi Joshua, It's My Role, Clip Films, Editunes, yes, thank you very much, Dr. Jonathan Chiwanuka, Innocent Mugabe, Moses Adams, Martha Director, Martha Academy, Hami Black Seviala. Yes. Anti-kati network yejira. Why? Tobango ogenda waka side dish. Lwaki otujja kusigenda wa side. Already ni matuga nangi. Gano natuka waka. Mumuchala alowooza mbu byavuddeko buvi. Brian Media funa ebisimu bya satellite. Ebisimu bya satellite mukibenga no. I'm going to try and get another kuba kati nyina router. The router there is no way I can plug it. I'm going to get another MiFi. I'm going to replace the other MiFi. Kuba MTN has better network in waffe. So I'll see you tomorrow evening. I'm going to be talking about reasons why new cars lose value. Of course, every car will lose some car value, but this I'm going to be telling you the reasons why the new cars lose value. And if you don't pay attention to the things I tell you tomorrow, then definitely your car must lose value, and it's not a very good thing. No kwate moroka no jigula million 28 no tukanga bajigula 22 nga tayina yadde ekizibu, and it happens a lot. So thank you very much for being part of this broadcast. I'll see you tomorrow in the evening. Ciao.